Welcome to session 2 of 3 sessions of Network Your Way to an Abundant Business, even if you're terrified of networking. I'm Kate Steinbacher, and I'm so glad you're back here for session 2. I certainly hope you've been able to complete session 1 and all the homework involved, because as you can imagine, each one of these individual sessions, one builds upon the next, builds upon the next. And at the end of the 3 sessions, you will be a professional networker. You'll know what to say, what to do, who to talk to, and how to be a professional networker that knows how to build his or her business now. So welcome, and let's get started. First of all, what is something that you would really like to learn in this 3-part series? My guess is that it's going to be all about how to build your business. I don't care if you're a coach or a speaker, an author, a fitness trainer, a health person, whatever it is, networking can really help you build your business. So in part 1 that we completed, hopefully you completed already, you learned a whole lot about mindset and how to really begin to understand the value of having a professional networking mindset. Today, part 2, we're going to talk about the magic of networking. We're going to talk about how an elevator pitch can really make a difference between hating networking and loving networking. And we're also going to go through the 6 elements that are required to craft an effective connection conversation. Finally, in the 3rd part of the series, we'll put it all together for you. The mindset, the elevator pitch mistakes, the elements required. We'll talk about the blunders people make. We'll talk about proactively preparing for your networking event so that you are ready and can begin to build that all-inspiring and wonderful list that will help you begin to build your business as well. And we'll teach you how to automate follow-up so that you get results every time. Okay, let's just quickly recap session 1. Again, I hope you have listened to session 1 and already done the homework. There were some really important parts to it. You see, the truth is the fastest way to actually build a business is through live networking. I'm not kidding you. Networking allows you to serve others and to also be served yourself. When you're networking, you tap into your greatest gifts. You're a great listener. You're probably wonderful at supporting people right where they are and helping them to get to the next level. It's actually who we are as authors, coaches, and speakers and healers. We're givers. So networking is a perfect place for us to get started. Now, we also learned the 5 responsibilities that we have to take on to have fun and be profitable networkers. These are number 1 for success at networking. If you are not incorporating all 5 of these responsibilities, then your networking will fall far shy of success. And it's probably why many people are not successful at networking. Then finally, we talked about the potential results that you can get. And it wasn't just a lot of clients. We really talked a whole lot about how you could get a full practice of paying clients. Sure, that was one opportunity. You might get booked for speaking engagements. You might get asked to write a column in a popular local newspaper. You could actually have a story written about you in the newspaper. You could be asked to be on TV like I was. You'll be seen as an expert in your field for sure, and someone that connects people. And of course, if you're like me, I love the warm fuzzies I got because I was able to help so many people. And as a result, people came to me, not only for help, but eventually they became business. Okay, the actions we said from session 1. And if you didn't join us for session 1, I hope you'll go back and do it because it's really important. First of all, we want you to really choose your new attitude around networking. I called it CYA, choose your attitude, kind of a different way of saying it. I'd like you to begin to look at how networking can really change your life and your business. Change your paradigm from networking is sleazy or yucky to networking is serving and receiving. And then finally, what we wanted you to do was to find at least 2 networking groups in your area. The bottom line, networking groups are about finding people that you enjoy hanging out with. Okay, let's say you did everything you were supposed to do from session 1. You're all set. You've changed your attitude. You can't wait to get started. Okay, let's dive into today's session. So, when does the magic of networking happen? Well, it actually happens when you stay connected with your colleagues. That's between the meetings, not just all the time at the meetings. Between the meetings is where you actually begin to create your sales team and discover who in your group you can refer with confidence. We call this a one-on-one conversation. You meet a member for coffee, or you have a Skype conversation or a phone call. Now, the discussion here is around learning how you can help and support them. You discover who their ideal client is, the best way to connect that person or business to them, everything that they're really wanting to be able to make a difference in the world around, what their business does, how they handle it, etc. And finally, one of the most important things is the very most important part is to educate them on who your ideal client is and how they can help you. I've heard so often people say, I always give and I never on the receiving end. Sometimes people get stuck in that sense of networking never works for me because I end up giving, I help everybody else, and I never end up getting helped. Well, most often it's a result of one of 3 syndromes or complexes, I call them. The first one I call the Lone Ranger syndrome. And this is the one where, I can do it all. Hi-yo, Silver. I want to sound like I'm really know what I'm doing, and you do. And I want to make sure people know that I'm powerful, and you are. What you forget, though, is that even the Lone Ranger had Tonto. And if you give the impression of being able to do it all by yourself, then people figure you don't need any help. So Lone Ranger syndrome can really hurt you. The next one I called the Holly Helper, or the Donnie Do-Gooder complex. Now, this is the person, and I have to say that I'm partly that. If I'm not helping somebody, I'm not a good person. I give until it hurts. Do you know anybody like that? Are you maybe a little bit like that? You feel like you have to be giving in order to be doing things properly, in order to be ethical. Well, it's wonderful to give, but then you tend to drop what you're doing to help others. You start missing healthy boundaries so that you can get your own things done and ask for what you need. We have a tendency to keep giving and giving, and we get so excited about helping others, we forget, and sometimes conveniently, to get help ourselves. It is difficult to ask. Most people have trouble asking for help. You might have that fear of, I don't want to look vulnerable. If it looks like I need help, maybe I'm not a good business owner. But I want you to know that most often when we're vulnerable, when we make a mistake and say you're sorry or whatever it might be, when we ask for help, people love to help us. People see us as someone who is real, normal, kind of like them. Yeah, they make a mistake and they would love my help. And how good does it feel to you when someone asks you for help? It feels great, doesn't it? It feels like you're valued. So, Holly Helper, Donnie Do-Gooder, step aside and begin to learn how to have the give and the take. If we don't ask for what we want, we end up bitter because we feel we're always giving and never receiving. It's a horrible feeling. Asking for and getting help is our responsibility as business owners. All right, 2 things to remember. First, any relationship must be give and take or it's doomed to fail. Maintaining the give and take is up to us. Many of us hate to ask for help. Believe vulnerability is a sign of weakness. Oh my God, if I need help, I'm in trouble. We believe if I'm weak, no one will hire me. I have to give and seem like I don't need anything in return. Well, the silly part is that sets us up for failure, because what happens is we get give, and nobody gives us anything, and we start wondering why. We don't even realize we're creating it ourselves. Now, the second part, if you don't ask clearly and understandably for help, you will not get any help, or at least you won't get the kind of help you want. Think about babies. Babies can't communicate except with their tears or laughter. Well, tears can mean anything is wrong. They may get a bottle, or you might give them a hug, when what they really want is their diaper changed. So how do you ask? What do you say? That's what the elevator speech is all about. I'm going to begin here with 2 examples of a short elevator speech. By the end of our conversation today, you are going to have your own elevator speech. And you're going to know exactly what to ask for, how to ask it, and how to feel good about asking. You're also going to know how to give. So you will reach that point of relaxed, comfortable, good feeling give and take. Okay, let's begin with 2 examples of a short elevator speech. And I want you to be thinking, which one of these, A or B, puts an image in your head of a person you might be able to refer. Okay, A or B. So here's A. I coach people who want to grow their businesses and create more financial success. My perfect referral is anyone who wants to grow his or her business and would like a partner for their success. Positive. Nice. Example A. Okay, example B. I work with startup coaches, brand new to 3 to 5 years in business. They're struggling to make ends meet because they have few or no paying clients. My perfect referral is that startup coach you might know. I'd love to share my free gift with them on 5 tips to a full practice in 6 months. Do you know any coaches? Okay, which one do you like, A or B? Well, I'm guessing you selected B. B gives you a picture in your mind, and it allows you to go through your personal connections, your Rolodex, and make a match, or not. You might not know any coaches, not at this moment. And you are very clear on what type of a referral this member is seeking. And when you meet a startup coach, you know who to send them to, right? All right, let's start with how to build your speech. But first, I want to talk a little bit about semantics. Stick with me. Elevator speech. Ugh, I have to say, I do not enjoy this title. It feels like a very limiting mindset to me. I know it's often used to describe what you say when you want to allow someone to understand what you do. I got that. But it just sounds icky. I've also heard it called the 60-second commercial, or Michael Port calls it the 5-part conversation. Some people call it the who, what, and how statement. For our purposes, for the sake of semantics, and for true understanding, Melinda and I like to call it your connection conversation. You see, in this title, it makes more sense, and it declares its purpose to make a connection between people. So we're going to call it, for the sake of everything we talk about today, your connection conversation. And actually, that's exactly what you are going to build with me today through this process. Let's start with what not to do, okay? All right, there are the 3 biggest blunders anyway people make with their connection conversation. The first one is, you can guess, it sounds canned, okay? The teacher in the Peanuts comics, blah, 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 and all the kids are sound asleep. There's no real intonation. There's no passion. There's no interest to connect with. It's predictable and, frankly, yucky. The second one is, can you guess? It's all about me. I'm a coach. I'm an author. I help people. I have a certificate in, I create workshops. Ugh, get over yourself. Usually we do this because we believe people want to know what we are qualified in. What letters do we have behind our name? What courses have we taken? Because we feel like unless we tell them all that about ourselves, they won't think we're real. Well, the truth is, if you can solve a person's problem, they actually really don't care. Unless, of course, you're making false promises, but I can't imagine anyone would do that. So it should never be all about me. It needs to be all about them. And then finally, it's boring. It's not engaging. Sometimes you are so sorry you asked a person what they do because it's either so predictable or they go into details you cannot possibly follow. And soon you're sound asleep and looking for where can I go next? Oh, I think I have to go to the ladies' room. It's really tough. So, what does make a great connection conversation? Because certainly you don't want to be in the blunders category. Well, a great connection conversation has three parts. It's engaging first. The listener can picture what the person is saying in their own mind. It has a life, it has energy. It's informative. The listener can learn something about who and how you serve those people. And finally, it's flexible. The conversation can be lengthened or shortened or anything up the particular speaker needs. So it can be determined by the circumstances. Sometimes you might only have a 30 seconds. So that might be you're standing in line getting a coffee and there's a CEO next to you and they ask you what you do. So you have a 30-second something. And then if you belong to a networking group, which I hope you'll join one soon if you're not already, you'll get 60 seconds and then you get to talk a little bit more. And then there's even times like if you're at a chamber mixer or some kind of a business networking event or something like that, that you'll get the chance to chat for 5 minutes and give lots more details. Well, a great connection conversation has all three of those things. It's engaging, it's informative, and it's flexible so that you can use it anywhere and anytime, and you learn to dance with the opportunity. You see, when you get clear on all of the 6 elements of the connection conversation, you can comfortably and professionally dance with it, help people understand who you are, who you serve, how you do it, and the action they should take. And you can begin to personalize it for the person with whom you're connecting. Okay, so this is going to be awesome. You're going to love it. Let's build your connection conversation now. So I'll go through the 6 elements, okay, of your connection conversation. Now, I'm going to go through everyone now relatively quickly, and then I promise we'll go through one at a time. Fair enough? Okay, hang in there, and let's have a little fun with this. All right, the first one. Who? Who you love working with. Okay. The question you would ask is, do you know? In my case, it's startup coaches. You might be working with small business owners, authors, women in their 50s, singles, college grads. Put the name of whoever that is for you. So the first essential element is who you love working with. The second, what's the challenge? What's the pain they're dealing with? What's keeping them up at night? Okay? So in the case of coaches, for me, they have no clients. They're not making any money. And for a writer, it might be writer's block. For someone who is poor health, they might have no energy. For somebody who's looking for a lifelong partner, they might be dating the wrong person. So what's the challenge that your clients have? Okay. And then what services do you provide? So for me, it's through my coaching. I help startup coaches, et cetera, et cetera. So through your coaching, well, maybe for you it's consulting, maybe it's workshops, maybe it's webinars, teleclasses, group coaching. It might be any combination of those, or could just be one, or perhaps you have something different. The fourth area is the result. What is the top result a person gets when they work with you? Okay, so for me, with a startup coach, well, after they work with me, they get clients. Maybe someone that's working with authors, people have breakthroughs and break through their writer's block. Maybe if you're working to help someone with their health, perhaps they get off their medications. If you're a relationship coach, perhaps they date really cool people now. What's the top result a person gets when working with you? And then number 5, what evidence can you share of the result? So you could say, in fact, one of my clients, after just 6 months coaching with me, had a date with an awesome man and is still dating him, or completed her book outline, or got 8 clients and now are on a way to making $50,000 this year. So what evidence do you have of someone that's worked with you that's been able to come up with a solution to that pain or challenge? And then number 6, the final one, is what is your perfect referral, or what's your call to action? What do you want your referral partner to do for you? If you don't ask for a call to action, they're not quite sure what to do. So you may want to be introduced to someone like you described, or perhaps you might say, wow, if you know startup coaches that are struggling to have clients and make money, I would love it if you could introduce them to me or give me their email so I can send them my free gift. Or you might say, the action I would love you to take is, do you know of a women's group that I can talk to about relationship building and dating the right man? So again, the final one, call to action. What is it you want your referral partners to do? Okay? Okay, now we're going to go through the steps one by one. So grab some paper and pen. And I really want you to write this down. As we go through each element, write down your response, okay, for this particular point. So number 1, who you love to work with. If you're not crystal clear on who you serve, it's got to be one of the most important things you have to do as a business person. Not only for yourself, but it's vital if you're going to ask anyone to help you find that person. For that matter, if you plan to find them yourself, you're going to have to know who you're looking for, right? So you have to know who you're looking for and where they hang out. And you have to at least be able to say what characteristics they have so they can be differentiated from all other people. So, all right, who do you work with? Do you work with chefs? Do you work with coaches, athletes, nurses, doctors, construction specialists, surgeons, gardeners, maybe women in their 50s, lawyers, authors? Who is just a descriptor? Write down who you love to work with. Pause this session for me, please. Take a moment to write this down. And for you, it could be a bit more than just an athlete or an author. It might be women in their 50s looking for the relationship of their dreams or whatever. But sit down now and think about it. Stop this video right now and take a couple of minutes to determine your who. Okay, number 2. I hope you've got something written down. And again, this is a beginning. We're creating a rough draft outline. So, what is the top challenge or pain? Number 2, second part of your connection conversation. So, what is your person you love to work with struggling with? What's their challenge, their pain? What keeps them up at night? They wake up in the middle of the night and they go, oh my God, I'm not making any money, or I have no clients. Oh my God, I'll never get this book out. I just can't seem to get 2 words on the paper. I've been dating the wrong guy, gal forever. When am I going to meet Mr. Right? I have been in poor health for so long. I have no energy. I'm exhausted by 5 p.m. and I just have so much to accomplish. If I have to go to this place of work for one more day, I think I'll scream. And then if you're an author, what challenge does your book help the person solve? Being an author is not much different than a coach or a consultant or anything else. It just means that your book is what you use to help a person solve their problem rather than coaching or speaking or whatever. So, what are the challenges your clients have? Please take a minute, stop this again just for a minute, and write down the challenges your ideal clients have. I hope you wrote that down. Now we're on number 3. What services do you provide? All right, we just talked about some of them. Are you a coach? Do you give workshops? Perhaps you create webinars like we're doing now? Maybe you're a consultant that goes into a company and supports people in certain ways or helps them accomplish certain things. Perhaps you teach teleseminars, maybe healing sessions, or could be business evaluations, or could be something different. Is yours different? Think about it. And is it some combination of these? So take a minute and write down what services you provide, service or services. Again, pause this so you'll take a moment to write it down. Number 4, what is the top result a person gets when they work with you? Okay? All right. So somebody's working with you and they're going to get some kind of result. So what is it? Okay? Maybe they got paying clients. Maybe they broke through that writer's block. And finally, dating the right people, that would be good. They have their energy back. Now, at the end of the day, they're full of energy and ready to run around the block or whatever it is. Maybe they found a new satisfying career as a result of working with you. Now, yours could be something else, but think about what are the results that the people that you help get? What happens? What do they get as a result of working with you? Pause again, please, and write this down. That brings us to number 5. What evidence can you share of the result? So this one is pretty easy. You know, it comes to, well, let's say, in fact, one of my clients got 8 paying clients of their own, one of my coaches. Or she finally found her legendary love affair. Or he found his dream career, is now working in an industry that he loves rather than hating going to work every day. My client is now off all prescription medications and feels energized again. Perhaps they broke through writer's block and completed 4 chapters easily. Evidence. What evidence can you share that your clients get when working with you? Again, please pause and write this down. Each of these pieces will work together for you so that you'll have, at the end of our time today, your own connection conversation. Number 6, the last part of the connection conversation. What is your perfect referral or the call to action? Okay? What do you want your colleagues to do for you? You have to be clear. This is so important. I cannot emphasize it enough. We must ask for what we want. You know, people don't have time to guess. Neither does your spouse, by the way. How many times have you been disappointed because your husband or your wife didn't get you what you wanted for your birthday? And you kept thinking in your head, well, they should know. They know what I love. Well, you know what? They don't know. And neither do your business partners. It's all the same, pretty much. Your referral partners don't have a clue what you want unless you ask for it. My favorite quote: don't ask, don't get. Don't be in that boat, is what I want to tell you. So ask for what you want. So, what is it you want? Perhaps you want, let's see, maybe you want them to share your free gift with someone. Maybe you want to connect with organizations that need speakers. Maybe you want to connect with a newspaper so you can write a column. Maybe you do want an introduction to an ideal client. It is so important for us to be clear and think about it for yourself. If a person tells you, I would like to meet the HR manager of ABC company so that I can share my super widget with them and help their team get a better bottom line result. Well, you can go through your Rolodex in your mind and you can say, do I know anybody in that company? Who do I know? Do I know anybody in the HR department? And you can whittle it down. Or you can say, you know what? I don't know anybody in that company, but you might. Unless a person asks for a company and a name or something very clear, I'd like a speaking engagement, I'd like a whatever, it's almost impossible for people to support you well. So a great connection conversation is engaging, interesting, and all about them, the people you serve, and your referral partners, and the action that you want them to take. When people are engaged and understanding what you want, they're so much more likely to refer their friends and colleagues with you because they feel confident that you know what you're talking about, you know what you want, and that you can support these people. We've now gone through all 6 parts. That wasn't so hard, was it? We've done all 6 of them, and you now know what all of them are. All right, now it's the test time. Just kidding. What we're going to do is we're going to put it all together so you have your very own beginning of your connection conversation. First, I'm going to go through it and do it 2 examples for you so you can hear how it works using this model that you'll see. Then I'll give you a chance to take your turn on your own and walk through this model using the information that you've created for yourself as we went through the last 6 parts. Okay. You start with what? Your ideal client. Do you know a startup coach, brand new to 3 to 5 years in business, who is stressed out the challenge and frustrated because they have few or no clients? The service or your client? Well, through my coaching and consulting, my startup coaches, my ideal client, experience the excitement of adding 10 or more paying clients to their businesses. In fact, first name and evidence, Ronald, after just 6 months of working with me, was able to add 12 paying clients to his business, putting him on track for a $50,000 year. Do you know any startup coaches? I would love you to introduce them to me. How's that sound? Can you see the way the process works? It's one step at a time, and you just have to plug in those details that you wrote as we were working together prior to this. Here, I'll do another one. You ready? My perfect referrals, starting at the top, are my ideal client, single women in their 50s who are tired of dating the wrong men challenge again and again and again. Through my coaching and weekend workshops, my service, these women, my ideal client, get really clear on the exact kind of partnership they desire to create. The results. In fact, one of my clients, Sally, after just 90 days of working with me, met an amazing man, and they are still dating, and that was a year ago. name and evidence. If you know any of these women in their 50s, would you please introduce me to them so I can share some of my best tips and give them an opportunity to change their dating experiences, my ideal client, and the action that I wanted them to take? Okay, I've given you a couple practices. Now it's your turn. You ready? Okay. You might want to take a screenshot of this once I get all of the information up on board, okay? Work with me on this, okay? If you just listen to this and you don't act, it's pretty useless. You've got to take action to make things change in your life. Becoming a networker, for some, it's not so hard. It's pretty easy. I love it. For some, it's tougher. But if you use these techniques, you can't lose. It's great, okay? All right, let's try it. Work with me. Do you know, or my perfect referral is, okay. And in the place, you put all of the details that we wrote down when we went through it step by step. So, do you know startup coaches or small business owners, authors, women in their 50s, singles, college grads, whatever your ideal client is, goes there, who are stressed out and frustrated because they have no clients, or maybe it's writer's block, whatever your challenge is that your ideal client is experiencing. Maybe they're dating the wrong person, not making any money in their business, whatever it might be. Well, through my services of coaching, maybe it's consulting or workshops, webinars, teleclasses, whatever you need to put in there, my ideal client, those startup coaches, within 6 months of working with me, Sally got 12 paying clients. Now, John is off all prescription medicines. In fact, one of my clients, after just 3 to 6 months coaching with me, she said she had a date with an awesome man and still dating him. There's your evidence. And finally, the action. Do you have connections with, or could you introduce me to, or connect me to, or get me the email address for whatever it is you want them? Could you perhaps get me a speaking engagement? Again, asking for what you want at the end, the action you want them to take. Okay, so let's go through each one. Make sure you have each service that you put in, your clients, your results, the evidence, and the ideal client and action at the end, okay? And you can use those connection words very easily and just make them your own. So this is the page. You may want to take a screenshot of this so you have this to work from if you haven't been able to accomplish it already while we were chatting. Great. Okay. Did you try it? I hope so. Because by now, if you tried it, you'll have a rough draft of your very own connection conversation. Woohoo! You did it, and it didn't take very long, did it? I promised you I would tell you what you needed to say, what you needed to ask, and you have it now. Now, it's just a rough draft. Don't be nervous or upset by it, okay? It's going to look messy. But don't you remember every time you do something new, it starts out messy? Messy's good, okay? You've got the beginnings of your very own connection conversation, one that will work for you, I promise you, every time. Eventually, you'll hone it to something that you're very proud of. Right now, it's just a beginning, but be pleased with it, okay? All right. Well, let's recap everything we've learned today. First of all, we talked about the magic, how you stay connected, how you learn to help others, and how to help them, and how you teach them to help you. We talked about asking for what you want. Got to do that. You don't expect them to know what you want. You have to play a little vulnerable. You have to be willing to know, to let people know that you don't know everything. You can't do it all by yourself. If you could, you wouldn't be human. So it's a good thing for people to know. All right, give and take. Has to be give and take. If you're always giving and never asking so that you can receive, there's a problem. Either you're going to get upset or people are going to not take you seriously. If someone's always giving, 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 you could make a couple of judgments about that if you wanted to. One would be they are only giving and you don't know how to help them because they don't tell you. And the second would be, well, apparently they don't need any help. So be sure to ask for what you want so you have that combination of give and take, give and receive. You are responsible to get what you need, no one else. Remember, your speech has to be engaging, informative, and flexible. Every connection conversation has to have those three parts. And when they do, it's easy breezy. We call it a connection conversation, not an elevator pitch, because connection conversation is truly what it is. It connects you with another person so they can understand who you work with, how you work with them, the results they get, and the action they need to take. We went through the 6 essential elements, every single one of them. Your who, the challenge, the service you provide, the results people get, the evidence of those results, and the action you ask people to take. All of that you got today. And by now, you should actually have the draft of your own connection conversation. Congratulations, that's great. All right, I got some tips for you. Hang on. So, tip number 1, type out this 60-second connection conversation. Okay, it might be 30 seconds, it might be 60. You can stretch it and shrink it. It's flexible, remember? And it's okay to read it during your first meeting or two, especially if you're a little nervous. I would rather you read it and be passionate and put some inflection and passion in it. It's okay if you're reading it when you have that. It's practiced. You don't have to memorize it because sometimes when you're nervous, it doesn't work that way. And when you do it that way, you won't leave anything out. You won't be stumbling on your words. So don't be uncomfortable about writing it out, learning it, but reading it at the same time the first few times. Okay, that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, you might want to use the same connection conversation for like a month straight. In other words, it teaches your networking colleagues what to focus on for that month, and it helps them remember if you keep talking about it each time. Most of the networking groups that I've belonged to usually meet 4 times a month, once a week. So if once a week you're talking about it for the month, and you can say in the beginning of the month, for this month, my perfect referral is going to be blah, 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 and go through your connection conversation. And then it's the ask at the end that stays the same for that month. Now, next month, you might change out the challenge, the result, maybe the story, even the evidence. In other words, use a new story of evidence of someone that you worked with. Maybe the ask is a little bit different. Instead of asking for email addresses, the next month you may be asking for speaking engagements or the opportunity to write in newspaper articles. So again, use it for a few times in a row and then change it up a little bit just by changing either the challenge or the result story, the evidence, that kind of thing. Keep it interesting, but also be educational. Okay, folks, you have accomplished a lot today, and I so appreciate your spending this time with me. Let's take a look at what kind of actions you should be taking, all right? So, first, answer the questions from the 6-part connection conversation if you haven't done that already. Hopefully you have. Craft your connection conversation. Write it out, okay? Put it on paper. I know you don't want to read it forever, but get it written out for now so you have it, and then you can play with it and begin to dance with it. I want you to practice that connection conversation. Practice it out loud, in the mirror. Practice it with friends, family. Have fun with it, okay? Get people to give you some response about how it sounds. Okay, the next thing, listen to session 3 of this 3-part program, because I'm going to teach you then how everything you've learned in the first 2 and the third is going to work for you. Okay, let me tell you what's next. So the third session is going to be how to make it all work for you. This is great stuff. First of all, we start with the mistakes most people make while networking and how to avoid them. So we'll teach you those 3 mistakes. We'll go through how to proactively prepare for your networking event so that you are ready and excited about being there and confident and comfortable and professional. Okay? And then finally, we're going to teach you how to create automated follow up that gets results every time and that takes you very little time. Once you set up your automated follow up, life is a breeze and it's not, you don't get stuck in that like I did. I mean, I used to go to so many networking meetings, but never get around to the follow up because it seemed so time consuming and boring. Also, great follow up helps remind people of what it is that you are passionate about and how you help people. Great follow up, professional follow up, is not pushy. It's pleasant, it's interesting, it's fun, and it's supportive to both you and those colleagues that you're asking to support you. Well, thank you so much, all of you, for being here, listening to everything I have to say. I love that you are part of Melinda Cohen and my revolutionary business building quest. At the Coaches Console, our greatest dream is to help as many coaches as possible be successful business owners. You see, our goal is to get the world coached, and we know that as 2 coaches, we can never do that. But if we can empower so many coaches like you, millions we hope, to have great thriving businesses, you will stay coaching and you will get the world coached for us. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next webinar. Bye now.